this day, the 4th?
Today is the 4th.
All right, time being 5:09, December 4th, 2023. Let this meeting of the Tilton Northfield Fire and EMS Budget Committee come to order. And we have a copy of the November 20th minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review them?
We did. I make a motion, we accept those minutes as presented.
Second.
Discussion, anybody?
My only discussion is when I read through them, some of them are pretty good as far as when we reduce a line, it says that in here, but then there's a handful of them that don't mention that we reduced them. It just says made motion and dollar amount. So I think that's a little confusing for the public to read it. So when we do these, I'd hopefully like to see some consistency as far as like when we do vote to decrease the line item that it shows up in the minutes, and it was kind of 50-50 when I read through these the other day.
Good catch.
But
That is a good catch. I'll mention it to Courtney.
Anybody else?
that's mine.
All right, all those, well, let's see. I always hate it when we make a motion to approve minutes before we amend them. So, are we going to correct these minutes? Or are we going to go forward with the next one?
It can be okay if, yeah, moving forward, we just do it.
Let it ride.
Yeah.
Okay, then I won't ask for,
Then they can see we're reducing,
Yeah.
They're not gonna otherwise know, right?
all right,
They'll,
all
they'll,
those,
they'll see it in this, that they won't get a copy of.
Right.
But, you know.
Right.
And it's on the video.
all
True.
right. All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
One thing.
Nice carry. All right, to the budget. I believe we left off on page 5, did we not? Although we have, why is it yellowed out?
Which, the grant?
Grants.
Nah, you voted on that last week, I think.
It's for the, no,
Didn't they vote that?
No.
no, they voted on the other end to spend the money.
Oh, okay.
But they didn't, there's nothing to vote for, the grants applied for and received.
Yeah,
That, I just have to fill that in, they voted on, under spending the money.
I just noticed the yellow line beside it,
Yeah.
so it was a little
I thought we
confusing.
did that.
All right, then I believe we're on page
5.
5. Thank you, Jane.
If you want to wait for Eric and Paul, we can always move on to
Page 6.
page 6, and then the apparatus and equipment replacement fund.
That's probably a good idea. What does everybody think?
That's fine, I thought we did page 6 already.
there's only
so-
one, the dues and
Yeah.
Dues and
subscriptions,
subscriptions.
because the actuals weren't filled in,
I've gotcha.
so now they are.
All right, bottom of the page, dues and subscriptions.
Yeah, we got through 625.
Right, page 6 and the top of page 7 is the dues and subscriptions.
Yellow.
So does this mean our chief fire officer has not been certified this year?
Your chief fire officer is certified, but the deputy has not applied yet.
Okay, oh, well, I don't see any monies.
That's why it's not expended, he didn't apply yet.
Okay. So the total you're looking for is 6,132. And this year, 4,072 has been spent so far. 2022, 3606, 3196. You haven't spent that amount.
Well, the Hassler's the big bad.
Yes. So that's gonna, the Haas alert's supposed to go online around January 1st.
Is that every year, or is that just the startup?
That's
or-
the startup fee and the first year fee. After that, it's, the startup fee is $500, so then
Okay.
it's
7 a year.
7 something a year.
Yeah.
And I think there's a 5-year contract if you want to reduce it.
Mm. And notary public, is that to get somebody,
That's
Their
for
stamp.
Courtney to become a notary.
and that's at one time,
That's
that's good for.
It's good for 5 years,
Yeah,
and mine's
yeah.
up next year,
All right,
so,
and then it drops off again until you renew.
Right.
I was wondering if you were doing a different person every year.
no, it's just, we have a new,
Yep. What is this HRM?
And the
human
resource-
resources,
Yeah,
it's membership to, and,
That's
the
new.
states, yes it is.
Is Haas the fancy new entry system
Haas?
that you
No.
talked about? What is that?
Haas is a warning system that's in both our engines and ambulances that
Oh.
you turn on through our cradle point, it goes through the internet and sends out a signal through the cellular signals and others that alerts other vehicles and people using Waze and other map things, and in a lot of cars now that we're either approaching from you behind or there's an accident scene in front of you. A lot of tow truck companies now are using them on the highway, so like when you're approaching an incident, you'll know on the highway it's about a mile, you start getting the warning. Around town it's a little closer,
Then why do you feel it's necessary now?
because it helps prevent accidents with emergency vehicles.
Have we had that problem?
I have a yard full of Dodge Chargers, green ones, that have all been rear-ended, just as an example.
Yeah, it's a problem.
It is.
We had
People
one
don't
engine
know.
that was smashed up from it, but that was in,
Remember engine 3, when it was
Yes.
brand new?
yeah, it was like,
Your exit 20.
like 1 month old.
Yeah.
Very modern, a lot of people have it, especially transportation people. But people going skiing or whatever.
I just don't understand people that crash into emergency vehicles. They're kind of big and noisy and
It happens.
Lights
almost-
flashing.
it
Well,
happens
they have
almost every
warnings
single
all over
day.
the highway now, they used to not have those, they do now.
I know they used to just stick out flares until they went out.
They don't pay attention. I mean, we went to Concord the other day, and the ambulance is coming through the intersection, nobody was moving over. And I was like, what?
Well, sounds like necessary. All right. What do we want to do with total dues and subscriptions, people?
I make a motion, we fund lines, was it 560?
Yeah.
The amount of $6,132.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right. Look at that. Page 9.
Bunch of $1 ones.
Oh, this is the. We're just, you're just keeping them open, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Do we want to keep them all open?
I don't see any that I think we should close.
We didn't have anything in land for the last couple of years.
Back in
we-
2021.
Yeah, we don't really know what we're kind of doing with there yet.
So, some of these, I mean, the land issue, that's really a warrant article, is it not?
Not necessarily. You can purchase, the selectmen or the Board of Fire Commissioners can actually purchase land without approval if they have money set aside for the purpose.
Well, I can't approve it for $1. I mean, buy it for
No, but
$1.
we do have the Land and Building Fund, and they are the agents of the fund.
Isn't that a reserve fund? Oh, they're the agents?
Yes.
They really need a, I don't think they need a line item for, in the budget to do that. Now, if you don't have any interest, right, does that mean you're anticipating tax anticipation notes?
I hope not.
You hope not.
Yeah, that would be bad.
That would be really bad.
That means that one of the
Let's see.
towns isn't
Yeah.
giving you the taxes they've collected for you.
Well, that's if the towns, I think that they just send the bills out.
They, yeah.
Talking about
Yes,
Northfield?
thank you, Water
Yeah, I
District.
have not got my tax bill.
Although I don't think they were aware of it.
In Hilton, they just went out, what, Friday or,
Days ago. I mean, days ago. I think we signed it. Oh,
And 4902 capital outlay for machinery, vehicles,
See,
and
we
equipment.
need this
but-
camera.
well, only one. I'm sure 3 of them signed it.
Those are warrant articles, the vehicles.
Well, no, 4902,
Yeah.
we've never had that before, so why would we have $1 in there?
it's been unfair for years.
We just haven't done anything with it. We haven't funded it in the last 3 years.
Correct.
Right.
So what would we buy in the budget that we're not buying somewhere else?
Like the last time we used it was for the copier.
We don't lease, just buy it outright, copy
We
it.
bought that one outright, yes. That was the decision that was made at the time.
I just skipped ahead. Our budget looks really good, but it doesn't include salaries. All right, what do we want to do with all the little dollars?
Well, then one of the 10s, I don't think I don't agree with all of them, so.
Which ones do you not agree with?
Land, capital outlay for building, capital outlay for machinery. Yeah, that's fine. So, we've got time. Let's just, I make a motion, we fund 4332 for $1.
4332?
Pressurized hydrants for $1.
Is that the only one you're making a motion for now?
Yep.
Any discussion? Did I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Our hands are pretty tied in this anyways, right? We're waiting for everything to kind of roll through the legal process and
Our attorney recommended that we put $1 there,
$1,
so.
okay. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's what the attorneys have said.
That way, either way, the line is open and we can do whatever we need to do.
Okay.
I don't think it'll go another year. All right, all those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, ayes carry.
Make a motion, we fund 4723 tan interest for $1.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes carry. You don't have anything in credit cards? Nothing in capital outlay?
I make a motion, we fund 4901 land at $0.
Is there a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Discussion. Why do we want to keep that line open?
Yeah, I guess I'm just looking for clarification too, because I would think that land should be a warrant article as well. How much money's in there that they could theoretically expend right
It's
now?
in there now, about 800 or 900,000.
That's going up.
There's that much money?
Yeah, oh yeah,
So
it's
they
over
could-
$500,000 last.
Wasn't that for architectural design? That's for the whole
It's
package,
for
though, right?
anything-
Okay.
Regarding,
We were on a roll when the budget committee started, at putting 100 grand, really socking it away, because we had $1 million budget, and we had a $2 million budget, so we were trying to really pump
In the,
some money
in the
in.
past 4 years, you haven't put money away, but it's been a warrant article.
Right.
We don't know those yet, do we? Or are those
it's drafts.
the drafts?
The drafts are almost completed.
Okay.
We should have them at your next meeting on the 18th.
I don't believe you need this line item if you have a reserve fund. If you're taking money out of a reserve fund, you've already raised and appropriated it. So you don't need to, I think.
Yeah, would they not be allowed to expend it if we vote this at 0, or could they still expend it?
I don't know. is the
Yes, so
answer.
I
My
would-
answer.
If you have a warrant article to spend the money, you can expend the money. The DRA is not gonna say no.
It's in my other budget book.
But if we zero this for next year and some land becomes available with that 800,000, could they use it? No.
This line is to raise and appropriate monies at this town meeting.
Right.
The monies in the reserve fund have already been raised and appropriated, so you don't have to raise and appropriate them again. If they're the agents for the fund, they don't need a warrant article to remove monies from it because we already made them agents to do that.
So we wouldn't need this.
I'm pretty sure.
I really don't think we do,
Yeah.
because we've already kind of we've kind of forfeited our ability to.
Well,
you know.
it's no big deal.
Yeah.
The line doesn't drop off in 3 years, so if we need to put it back, we can put it back.
And if I'm wrong, we can vote it in at district meeting. I don't think anybody's gonna vote no to a dollar. I don't think.
It's not about the dollar.
No, it isn't.
I think it was a methodology and principle that we really would kind of want the voting body involved in a land purchase.
Any more discussion of
We've
the
seen
motion on the
other-
table?
Select boards buy land that they shouldn't have bought, or bought, not here, but you guys bought that industrial park drive thing. When you bought the building next to Seagate, Tilton,
That was a warrant article.
they spent it for way too much, and then they sold it for way too little.
You think?
It was a bad move.
It was really bad.
It was snake oil and smoke and mirrors and
About that in a second lot. All right, any more discussion of this motion to put 0 in line 4901 land? All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes carry. Capital out machine
Make a-
vehicle equipment.
Make a motion, we fund 4902 at 0.
I'll second.
Discussion.
So,
So this was the copier you said.
Yes.
Which
Aren't these things now covered under the
could have been
fund,
somewhere else.
ambulance fund?
Not the
No.
copy.
Yeah, printing and stuff.
There's no office equipment line,
Yeah, I was wondering the same.
There is.
There's
an
office
m-
supplies.
supplies.
but not office equipment.
But we could always put it under there.
Well, you're not raising and appropriating the money, so if you had to buy a copier or whatever, the commissioners can still buy that and then
True.
mark it in the budget somewhere.
That's-
doesn't
that's-
prohibit
That's what
them.
would happen.
From spending monies.
you don't see any great need for this? Mike?
Not really.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes carry.
Make a motion, we fund 4903 capital outlay building for 0.
I'll second.
Discussion.
No land, no building.
Yeah, what, remind me what the point of this one is again, technically?
To buy land,
The building is to is for the building, if, you know, but we don't have land, we don't have a building, we don't,
Okay.
What did we spend $2,200 on 2 years ago?
Buying the land at Park Street.
Oh.
That was part of the purchase price.
Oh, that's that, right. the
Yeah, that,
slice
buying that, the rest of that
piece,
little
yeah.
piece of triangle.
But that should have been under the landline.
it is under the landline.
Then why did we
Why
spend
isn't it
$2,200 on the capital outlay building?
It-
And
it was-
$6,400 on the land, I
It was
guess.
something that needed to be,
Survey.
no,
Well, we can find out. It might take a minute.
I have to bring it out, hang on.
I don't remember what it was for.
I don't either, I'm gonna look it up. When did we put the heaters in Park Street? When did we switch those?
That was, I don't remember.
Neither.
They've been there for more than 2 years. Because I remember when we spec'd the new engines, not only did it have to fit in Center Street, but it had to fit under the heater,
True.
and it just makes it.
Was the 64, 63, the triangle piece that you bought at
Mhm.
Park and Go? Yeah, that's good.
And when you find it, we're all gonna go, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have a line for office equipment, do you?
Oh, that was for the lockers.
Okay. Yes.
I
Yeah.
was thinking about the extractors and stuff, and that was different.
Got them from the prison.
Yeah,
Yep.
And you had to pay for them?
yes.
Interesting.
It's like,
That's a state asset, it's good for my office.
I got a letter the other day
I'll have to
from.
talk to the corrections commissioner about that.
Wasn't prisoners building them?
It was,
Yeah.
It was,
yes.
yeah, okay.
They were made up north.
Yeah, you pay for the materials.
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
We
that's
had to pay
different.
for the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
materials.
There wasn't, came out of their inventory. though.
Right.
They
they
didn't-
do some nice stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other one, the land was the purchase of the triangle plus the surveying.
Right, right. Deed and legal and all that.
Yes.
All right. Any more discussion on line 4903? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions, all right. Design, engineering, and architect fees.
Hmm?
Please make it for that,
Why?
because that's the one that we're paying the architects out of. That's
What architects?
the.
Oh, to do the
Yeah,
study and
the-
stuff.
that-
yeah.
those guys.
The need study.
The need study.
Well, we're-
Finally, we're gonna do a need study after how many,
We're not raising or appropriating any money, so how are you gonna do a needs
It's,
study?
well, it's coming out of the money that was set aside.
Is it in a reserve fund?
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, it is.
This was the one where we raised and appropriated it, and they didn't do anything with it, and it lapsed. And
I know.
And they wanted to do it again, and have us pay twice for the same
It
money.
made me,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we threw up a little in our mouths on that.
Yes,
And we're like,
thank
no,
you.
no, no, let's get it from the unreserved fund balance, or the unassigned fund balance, put it back, protect it, No, I get it. Make a motion, we fund 4904, design, engineering, and architectural fees for $1.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes, carried. That was $1, okay. Other, I always like other. Yeah, there's a miscellaneous line right up there, and we have other. Come on. That's just miscellaneous spelled differently.
We ever used it? I don't see any, I mean, I don't know.
We used it in miscellaneous, but never another.
Never another.
It's one or the other.
Yeah.
Or in this case, not the other.
Yeah, okay.
Make a motion, we fund 4909 for $0.
I'll second.
Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? And abstentions? All right.
See,
Zeros and ones, going by here.
saved a couple bucks.
We'll reduce that by $2.
Maybe more than that.
Reduce that by $1, $2, $3, $4.
I'm gonna get up at the annual meeting and I'll say, these guys right here are really,
We spent $100 worth of our time to save $4.
Yeah, pretty much.
saved me.
Now, where's the lawnmower?
Oh, don't even.
Stop.
Alright, let's
Please.
get that, where is that? Let's get that rascal out of
That
there.
It's
was-
just gonna
you think
drive your
about
fuel
it.
costs
You think
up.
about it, that was
Unless you
actually a
get,
good
unless you get an
discussion.
electric one, because
Yeah.
electricity's
That was a
free,
very
everybody
good
has an electric
discussion.
car, figures, oh, it doesn't, I don't buy gas
45
in it.
minutes of it.
It's free.
That was a
ready to
very
cough up
long
cigarettes.
discussion.
Which one, the mower?
Uh,
Not as bad as the bark mulch.
And bark mulch, that's all I think of it.
I forgot about the bark wall. All right.
Page 12.
Yes, page 12.
Yeah, 535.
Eric? Eric's here.
Should I leave?
No.
No, we
No.
left the best
Pull up
section
a
for
chair.
you.
Have a
We
seat.
just figured, well, maybe Paul thought it was a 5:30 meeting again.
I just made it down from Coldbrook. I go back.
Finish the moose tour.
I just left them out.
Yeah,
on the side of the road.
the moose is out there smoking a cigarette. Take
Did they
5,
get a lot of
guys.
snow up there?
Yeah.
Oh, you wanna go back to page 5?
No,
Or do you wanna do 12?
No.
Let's wait for Paul. Page
Okay.
12.
I don't know if that will
Is
help us
everybody
or
else
not.
set
I
with
don't
going
know
forward to
either.
page 12, or do you want to go back to salaries? Sounds like we're good to 12.
Yeah, he should be in here, he's,
Fire one.
All right.
I make a motion, we fund 40, we have to,
331.
yeah, but, we have to do them separately, right? 331 and 332.
No, you can do them both together.
All right, so I make a motion, we fund 331 and 332 for $37,500 and at $1 respectively for a total of $37,501.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Oh, I didn't see that.
All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes, carried. All right.
You make it, that's one line item that you wanna see go up. How much money did you make last year for revenue compared to the year before?
How much more?
Yeah, is
About
it,
50,000.
okay.
So if we're, I think we'd probably be somewhere near 600,000 this year.
Good.
All right. Equipment maintenance and repairs. What do? Repair them every other year?
As needed.
Yeah, these are, most of the stuff is as needed. Looking, if you go down the line, it's like all our mobile radios and portable radios, they're out of their warranty period, so anything goes wrong with them, we have to have them fixed now. Pages, we're always getting something, on a couple of our pages repaired or fixed. The gas meters, we have to buy calibration gas, that's very expensive for those things. And we usually buy a bunch of sensors too, O2 sensors or H2O2 sensors. So they go bad and they cost different amounts depending upon what type of sensor you need for the gas meter.
Did we not appropriate money for that last year?
Well, last
It
year,
came up,
you just did sort of like a flat. You didn't care about what was up here, you just,
So we
just
just
gave
did
me a
bottom
number at the
line?
bottom line. And I tried to manage it, but you can see I've already overexpended, did that this year. The new things in there are the batteries for the AEDs and the auto pulses. We need to buy batteries for those are expensive.
aren't those under,
Those are the service testing, aren't they? Oh,
no,
No,
they're under fire equipment. Under the, this was under the apparatus and equipment, this was under the operating budget, this is under the apparatus and equipment. So batteries and everything come out of this one, 740. So that's what's confusing everybody. Because we have repairs and then we have,
you make me some repairs.
You had your,
Equipment
you had
is new
your
stuff.
as needed and then your planned,
right,
like your certifications,
right.
inspection. So I would make a motion, we fund 630 in the amount of 14,525.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed? Abstentions? That's carried. All right. Service testing.
Now we've got copier service for the copier.
Yes.
Yes,
That's just, you still own that machine.
we
This
still
is
own
just-
it,
okay.
yes.
They haven't come out yet.
What?
Fire alarm bells.
SCBA fit test, what's that mean?
That-
You put your SCBA mask on,
Yeah.
they attach it to a machine,
Oh,
and you go through all different kinds of motions to make sure
so
that
there's
it.
leaks and stuff?
Right.
Oh, okay, maintains the pressure over there.
What's a Plimo vent?
Why,
Those are the hoses that attach the exhausts of the vehicles inside the apparatus space, so you're not sucking up diesel. And
That's what they call them?
that's the
It's a
name of
brand,
it. It's a
yeah.
proprietary company name.
Oh, it's like
Plimo
saying
vents.
Skills cleaning?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
why is it $1 for the fit test thing, why is that?
Because,
We don't pay it?
no, because Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid has the fit test machine now,
Oh, okay.
and so we don't have to pay someone else to do it, but if that fit test machine's broken, then we have to pay someone else to come in and do
All
it.
right, that makes sense.
If you wanted the actual name to the Plimo vent, it's a direct source capture system.
Yeah, I mean, all these seem pretty much like they're contracts that we have to do anyways,
Yep.
so, I mean, I make a motion that we do 22,947 for 631 service testing.
Second?
I'm sorry, I missed your motion. What was it for?
22,947 for line item 631.
And we got a second. Discussion. All right, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right. Vehicle repairs.
jumps in here. I assume that these are just because every repair is going up in the world, and it's just pretty much the cost of doing business now.
Well, if not for the $20,000 other line, things would be trending down because the fleet's younger.
Well, the only thing that really caught me by surprise this year was the air conditioning in A1, which is our older ambulance.
Right.
That snuck up on us. It's a pretty big expense.
When's that due for replacement, that truck?
Well, we're having a warrant article this year to buy another new ambulance, but I don't want to replace it, I want to keep it.
Right.
And I have a whole PowerPoint,
And have 3?
yes, get rid of the rescue.
Oh, and just equip it differently, or?
No, I'd be equipped as an ALS ambulance.
Oh, okay. But where would is there stuff on the rescue vehicle that would have to go, where would that?
Most of it's off the rescue now. The only
Okay.
thing left on it is a set of hydraulic rescue tools that we can put on the ladder truck, and that's what we'll probably do with that.
Gotcha, yeah. So it wouldn't be a fleet increase, it'd just be kind of repurposing and changing. Makes a little more sense, it gives you flexibility, right?
Well, it makes sense in a lot of ways that we would use that third ambulance mostly when one of the other
I was
ambulances
just
is out
gonna
for
say,
service.
if you're running a 2-ambulance show and you only have 2 and one's down, you're not you're not a 2
Right.
ambulance shop.
And then we're losing revenue.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, I have a whole PowerPoint
No,
project
there's-
ready to go for
no, there's
that.
wisdom to that, having that redundancy.
There's the initial cost of buying it and equipping it.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna buy it anyways, it's the initial cost, the additional cost of equipping it.
Right.
And a lot of people say, why don't you just take the equipment out of this one and put it in that one? You can't, because the state won't let you license it then,
Oh, okay.
as an ALS.
Yes.
And that's where we kind of make our money, the ALS side of it.
Yeah.
We're on page 13.
Okay, I apologize for my tardiness.
Vehicle repairs.
While we're doing the apparatus and equipment fund, before we go back to payroll,
Okay.
I guess the only thing, do you think we need the 20,000? It's been a lot of years before we've really needed it.
Well, it's all spread out amongst the equipment that's repaired.
It's,
Oh,
that's like if, so other than the 20,000, I know I'm gonna spend all that other money.
those are all the
Those are
inspections,
planned,
PMs.
PMs, inspections, things that I know that, the tires that I know I have to replace. That 20,000 is like, it's like the air conditioner. I wasn't planning on replacing that whole air conditioning system. Things like that.
And when it happens, we put it under the vehicle that it goes to.
okay.
So you don't really see the expense in the other line that ends up showing up.
It's a little less heartburn having it here than in the operating budget, because that was kind of a big deal, right, to have an extra 20, 30, 40,000 in there.
But you're not, you will only take that out of the equipment and apparatus fund if it's expended.
Right. And so if we don't expend this amount,
It's right here.
it stays back, it stays in the apparatus and equipment fund. It's not, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go into the unreserved fund balance. It goes right back into the apparatus and equipment fund, so it's like.
It could be
or
50,
if
it
you-
could be 50,000, it wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't matter. If you over appropriate's no big deal,
Yeah.
under appropriate's when it's a problem.
Right.
Well, in 2020, if this money was in 2023, we would have under appropriated, with over $5,000. Because this money this year is coming out of the operating budget, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
How much money is typically left over in the commissioner's budget each year?
Last year, Gretchen asked me that question, that district.
What's the average?
I don't know what the average is, but I remember what last year was, it was around 43 or 53,000 is what we ended up with, having left over at the end.
That was because of legal fees. We didn't extend.
We didn't expend legal fees that we thought we were gonna have because they kept getting pushed out. This year, the budget is, we're running within 1 or 2% of our appropriated overall. There's some lines that are over, some lines that are under, but
I make a motion, we fund line 660, the amount of $49,004.
Second it.
Discussion. All right, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it. That $4 is,
I know,
Really funny.
round up or round down. Good golly.
fire equipment.
most of the stuff in here is ordinary and customary stuff that we have to buy every year. The difference this year, the biggest thing is the new microwave link that we're purchasing that will go from the new tower at Park Street to the Shed Road site to bring that site in line with the rest of our radio system.
Do you have overlapping radio systems equipment right now? In other words, if that microwave link wasn't there, you would still have a functioning communication system, right?
Yeah, the base station would still work at Park Street, but
So,
the signals that we receive, we can't share with anything else at this point until we get the microwave link in.
can you explain that to me? What signals would you receive at Park Street?
Portable radio signals. So when you're talking a portable radio, it doesn't really go that far.
Right.
So we have all these other antennas that receive our portable radio signals. We have a new antenna at Park Street, but it's not hooked into the system. So when you talk near Park Street on a portable radio, if you're near Park Street, you will hear it. But if you're not, you won't hear it. If we include that into the system, it gets repeaterized at the repeater, and then you hear it.
But
You could be in Laconia and hear it.
Didn't we put repeaters in all the equipment so that you only had to be a certain number of feet from the apparatus?
The two of the ambulance and two entrances do have vehicular repeaters, but they're not as efficient, and they're mostly used on channel 1, where our local frequency on our portable radios is channel 7, no, channel 8. 7 is Lakes Region channel.
So,
Go ahead. The Lakes Region just sparked my thing. Don't they normally help with these type of things, or could they fund this to some extent from the communities?
So most of, they won't fund it for other communities. The last microwave link I put in from a grant, an emergency homeland grant that was in collaboration with the PD, the Tilton PD, Tilton Northfield Fire, and Lakes Region to add an additional receiver for the PD, the fire, and Lakes Region at Pleasant Street and Franklin, and then that's microwaved back to Shed Street. And goes through our repeaters, shared repeaters there. The police have a repeater there and the fire have a repeater there. Then it goes from there, microwave down to the police station, and from there by fiber to Belknap Mountain and to Lakes.
Is there any, I guess I'm trying to think, is there any issues with radio reception now that this would improve, or is it just so you can hear what you're saying in Laconia But can dispatch not hear you now from that same area?
So, we wouldn't be using our this is our local channel.
This is just for local.
Yes,
Oh.
but it would enhance everybody else's at the same time. Because once you put the link up, everybody else can ride that link and share in its benefits.
So this would just be for the local channel, not for channel 4 or channel 1 through Lakes.
No, because none of those are repeaterized. Channel 7's repeaterized. That's why we put the channel 7 receivers in there, because those are repeaterized.
Just in my head, I'm trying to think what value this is providing, though. I'm not seeing it.
It's providing it for TNFD, really is what I'm looking for.
But it's just a local channel, which emergency channels are fine. Cell phones could be still utilized in local.
Well, we use it for training and other purposes, other detail purposes, like you're on one side of the town and you want to talk to the captain on the other side of the town. Through our local channel, you can do that. If you can't use a Lakes region or even a vehicular repeater to do that.
And there's no grants available for this?
So I'm writing a grant right now that's going to add more receivers, but it's going to be at the other end near the Winnisquam Bridge. This one isn't, there weren't any grants available when we were doing this one, but there'll be one for the next one. And that grant will probably be in the area of $65,000. And the last one I got was $53,000.
Can we include this in that grant application?
It's too late.
It's too late. You haven't bought this yet, though, have you?
No, but the way the grants are running, say they have periods of performance, and this would be outside that period of performance. So that's why we got to. I mean, if we don't buy it, we don't buy it, but it won't be included in the other part with the grant, because I have to have more people. The only way you get these Homeland grants, you have to have collaboration with a bunch of people at the same time. And where this really only benefits TNFD, I can't, because the PD doesn't want to put a receiver there, and the Lakes region doesn't want to put a receiver at Park Street because they have one at Shed Road and on Pleasant Street. But it serves TNFD very well having one there. So I don't get the collaboration on that one, but the other ones I will. I've already talked to the chief and Chief Goldman about that, so we'll hopefully be very successful in the next grant.
So did you
I
say?
write a good grant, so we'll get it.
It's one thing that no one can dispute.
Did you say there's one of these on Shed Road?
There's two dishes currently on Shed Road. One from Pleasant Street to Shed Road, and one from the PD to Shed Road. And those are used for all three agencies.
I'm not understanding why we need yet again another one
Because
at
when
Park
we,
Street.
because when we bring Park Street, put a microwave link at Park Street, because we don't have fiber there, I'd go for fiber if I could, but we don't have the right fiber there yet. Put a microwave up, it sets us up into the system where signals can be received at Park Street and then shared throughout the rest of our system. If I could draw it on a piece of paper, it'd probably be easier.
No, I'm understanding you, but so you're saying you don't get signals now at Park Street?
We do, but we can't share them,
So why do you need to share them?
because
If Shed Road is sharing them, why do you have to share them at Park Street too?
with portable radios, when you're working inside our training facility, for say,
Okay.
it's a metal container, the portable radio signal in there doesn't get out of that metal container and hit the receiver either at Pleasant Street or Shed Road. But if we have a receiver right there at Park Street, it'll certainly reach it. And the other area you want to get is at the top of the
Are you
hill.
talking about the trailer?
the training facility
But would that be for your local channel?
for our local channel.
So why wouldn't you use a training channel for that situation?
Because we try to do scenarios where people aren't right there, where you have people far away responding time-wise. I mean, you can simulate more things that way.
You could do everything you're talking about on a channel that Lakes has available to us.
You can.
So I personally, I think that if we get that in a grant, that's great. But for me, I just don't see the value for the community right now in that personally. I mean, I make a motion that we fund line item 740 at 45,690, which is, if my math is right, just without that 27,290. And then if we get a grant, I think it'd be a great thing for grant money personally.
What was your total?
45,690.
Oh, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, discussion. Does everybody understand the motion currently on the table?
I agree with Scott that it doesn't sound like it's a $27,000 problem. Sounds like it's a once in an occasion. And it certainly doesn't, I don't think if my understanding is correct, I don't think it puts the safety of the firefighters in jeopardy. Unless I'm reading that wrong, because you have the capability now. It's just this would be enhanced capabilities.
Mike, if we spring for this new microwave thing and we get a $65,000 grant, would that make it much better, or?
Every time you add a link, it makes it better. Because it's really for portable radio reception on our local channel, which is repeaterized. And the way VHF frequencies work, they're very tall wavelengths. They don't propagate well through buildings because they're so long, they get clipped by windows and doors and stuff like that. So you have to, the receivers, you have to have more receivers when you're working in buildings to get a good signal from a portable radio. If you're using UHF, you can get away with less because the frequencies are shorter and they go through the windows and doors, whereas VHF doesn't. It's just physics, really.
And if we don't get this now and we get $65,000, then we can get it later with that grant?
Well, I was going to add another site down by the new hotel, or on the antenna.
Let's go for the hotel, the condominium of the Anchorage,
Yes.
or not condos, the
Yeah.
So there's
development.
legislation now proposed, let's let RSA, whatever they, not RSA, LSIs. There's one that's gonna make anybody that has a cell tower give you space for public safety in municipalities. If that passes, instead of going on top of the hotel, which is my current plan, I'll go to the one up the hill behind,
132, up by the PD?
no. The one further down, trying to think of, what's your relative's property up high? And aren't you related to, I can't remember. what's the-
Dalton?
Dalton's, yes.
Oh, kind of,
There's
sort
a,
of.
there's a cell tower at the top of the hill there that nobody can see, but I know it's there. And if we had an antenna there, it would serve that area of the town very well, both police and fire-wise.
Up on the ridge along Route 3?
Yes, on the left. If you're heading towards the
Probably.
bridge, on the left.
There's probably something Frank would have.
Yeah, north of exit 20.
No, it's off at exit 20, heading towards, you go through Lockmere, and I'm trying to think of what address.
Before Philbrook Road, is that cousin, uncle?
No, you're going up 130, it's out Route 3.
Out Route 3, before you get to.
Dalton lives on
Dalton.
Chapman Road on the
Chapman
way to
Road, yeah.
Philbrook.
Yeah.
My daughter lives up on the corner, yeah, that's up here.
Anyway, up that.
Behind Jay's Marine or whatever.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's Chapman.
Yeah, up that hill there.
That's Chapman.
There's a cell tower up there.
Well, I
Yes.
think that was South Belt Road.
No, it's Chapman. I always thought it should have been Dome. Yes, oh gosh, Frank's son lives up on the hill. What the hell's this mean?
So if that legislation goes through, that's where I
Ranger's down.
prefer to put it,
Atherton?
but otherwise, I'm
No,
gonna
no,
put it.
Atherton's
I
down
already
by,
talked to the hotel people, they
The
allow us to put it
cabaret.
there.
I think that's Frank's tower.
Yeah, I think he answered my question, so.
All right, any more discussion on the motion on the table? All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
How many nays did we have? Raise your hands, please. How many ayes? Okay, the ayes carry. Thank you. And abstentions, somebody abstained, okay. So where are we? EMS disposable equipment. That's a lot of disposable equipment, wow.
Takes money to make money.
Get your Band-Aids and your case bandages. Needles. This year,
We don't have anything in advanced medical training? Excuse me.
this year, we've already expended over 53. But some of that was EMS equipment. Some of that was not disposable equipment, but EMS equipment. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if you take the 17,773 out of that,
So far this year,
36.
we spent 34,000 and change
34.
Yeah.
And this is
on that line.
this on, is this October's or November's?
It's through November.
To November.
It's not a line you want to short. I'd hate to have to
Well, is
not
that,
buy
is that,
IV supplies or something like that.
is that another line item that you'll only expend what's necessary?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion, we fund 741.02. Why don't we go the whole thing? Okay. Total EMS, line 741, or 45,180.
Second.
Any more discussion on the motion on the table? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Rescue equipment, 960.
Can we take a step back? And this is just procedural thing, and I'm not questioning anything, I'm just trying to get it set in my mind. But whereas you're the commissioner's representative, do you still get a vote in these proceedings as well as the commissioner's
Yes,
budget?
so he is the ex officio member, which means he is a full member.
Okay.
The only thing that he can't do as ex officio is be chair.
Okay,
But an ex officio just means by virtue of his other office, he gets to be a member, but he's a full member.
all right, thank you.
That's
Now,
a good,
again, I'm not
not many
questioning,
people
just
ask that,
trying
but
to
that's a good,
understand.
that's a good question. That's a very good question.
Those were 90% through the budget. Just don't on me.
So, I gotta know, why did we appropriate 13,060? Oh, you spent $10,417 on rope and rigging?
Yeah.
Why, that's expensive rope.
It goes bad.
Yeah,
Doesn't
rope,
last forever.
rope expires. And we use it. for
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Rescue,
Well, I
rescue
know,
rope does.
you know, after 20 years, hemp rope gets a little rotten.
Yeah, it's like date code.
and if you use it in an actual rescue, you have to retire it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you do with it?
Use it for training stuff or cut it up and it's not, not,
Yeah, once you get sand in it or whatever, it's like little
That's
knives chewing
interesting.
away at it. It's like,
Well, to find out the hard way, oh my God.
yeah. It's like, how can you say, oh, it's only a year old? Oh, it's only 5 years old.
I've watched many a load of hay end up in the middle of Route 3.
Because I imagine.
All right. That line's been reduced since last year. Rescue equipment discussion, anybody?
And what's water and ice rescue?
so we're buying 2 dry rescue suits and all the equipment that goes along with it, you know, the whistles and the gloves and the helmets and stuff like that.
And how many suits do you have now?
Well, we suit everybody that is a certified swiftwater rescue technician, so I think we have 7 or 8 of those guys right now.
Are these to replace 2 suits or to increase the personnel
So
that are qualified for
you're
ice?
replacing old suits.
Okay. So you'll still have 7 total,
Yes.
and you're replacing them because?
They're worn out, they leak like crazy now. After so many years,
Is there an expiration date on them, or
there's
is it
not
just?
really an expiration date, but becomes to the point where they've been repaired so many times that the guy says, don't bring this back.
They're not buoyant anymore.
You mean when you jump into the icy lake, they leak?
They leak. Or you practice on the river,
Oh,
and it's, you know, covered with rocks and stuff like that, and so they get beat up. And it's something that we have to use and we have to train in all the time because those are perishable skills. You know, just because you get trained on it once doesn't mean you're going to be good at it. You have to practice it to be good at
you
it.
make them train in the old leaky suits?
Yes.
Tough luck.
I'll only have
They
freeze.
look good for that.
Good Lord.
Can we train in July?
All right,
Yeah.
any more discussion on rescue equipment? We haven't had a motion yet.
Nope.
No, I'll make a motion that we fund it, 960 at $10,712.
Second.
I'm gonna ask one more time, any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right. That's the last page.
Yes.
I guess we're going back to
5 more.
page 5. Bottom of the page. Now, more information was asked for at the last meeting on this. Do we have that?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, Paul, you wanted this?
It's 10.8%, right? Isn't that what we're looking at?
Can I distribute this around?
I have one more. You have one.
I don't want to keep one in hand, the rest of them to you guys instead. The opposite.
That's pretty funny.
Take mine, Jane.
Okay.
You get one?
No.
There's more of them here.
I was gonna say, is there more to
All right,
I
well, I
can
think
copy?
they're both-
Dawdling.
Full of outside. Jason may or may not get one.
I'll look on it with a friend.
Yeah, we got an extra one too. So
Ah.
Wow.
So this is for page 6, right?
It's line 335. That's actually for the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, it's up
This
at
is
the
page
beginning.
6, right at the top.
The training budget, this is just the physical cost of the classes, right? It's not
Yes.
including any type of salary or overtime pay.
That's correct.
So the paramedic training one, what was the 14,405? Is that for like a class, like somebody's taking like a?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like one of the tech
Yeah.
programs
So
or?
we have one student in a program right now, but it's grant funded, so we don't have to pay for it. Not all of it, most of it's grant funded. So it's a,
So that's why there's nothing in the budget.
right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
But we already approved that, right?
Yes. I think it was just information Paul wanted.
Okay, page 5. Salaries and wages.
I guess one of the things we talked about last meeting was, you know, the 10.8% would get us to the median, to the average. And I guess,
Well, it would have gotten us to the average in the summer. Since then, other departments have raised their starting rate, which I've given you this study. I don't know if I have a copy of it
I thought
myself.
the 10.8 was already increased because of the, wasn't it originally 8.2 or something? So,
Did we do that last year? Wasn't it like an 8 last year?
7.5 last
7.5.
year. I asked for 9 point something and ended up being at 7.5. This year, I started the study, it looked like it was gonna be somewhere around 8, but then by the time I finished it, it turned out to be 10.8.
10.8.
10.9 or whatever I wrote down,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
10.8.
and then what do you think it is now? To get,
It's higher. I didn't include like these newer ones that I just saw on the website a couple, maybe 3 weeks ago. They weren't included. This is a battle we seem to be fighting every year, trying to get ahead of the curve, and we're always behind it, it seems.
What's that?
You suggested starting at 25.
Yeah.
So, one of the scenarios that we talked about last week was doing the 10.8 and then adding an educational incentive to make us different than a lot of the other departments around here. Maybe attract somebody with some education rather than, in addition to the other qualifications needed to become a firefighter. And went through the department, found out who had what for education, and if we did the 10.8 and then added the educational incentive, everybody wouldn't get it, because not everybody has an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, or a master's degree, or a PhD. But it would give them incentive to earn that as well. And I talked to some of the guys have most of the credits they have to get an associate's degree, but they need 1 or 3 courses to get there. But the current cost, if we were to include that educational incentive, would be $89,428.79 over the 10.8% increase. another option that we talked about, I think Jason said, that, why don't we just start everybody at started at $25, so I worked out that cost. It would be an additional $132,396.71,
97.61.
$97.61.
Yeah,
Oh.
you just,
I
You
went
pulled mine to
dyslexic,
96.
yeah, went dyslexic there.
That would be how much? 130?
132, 397.61 over the 10.8% increase. And then, one of the other things I looked at is, if you look at the comparison sheet, most people offer dental plans, and we do not offer a dental plan. The dental plan we have is paid 100% by the employees. If we were to offer the dental plan, and if everybody eligible to take the benefit took the family plan, which wouldn't happen, that cost would be $35,344.56. Currently, we have 11 employees on the dental plan that pay for the entire thing themselves, and that amount is $13,299.12 for next year. So I imagine if we were to offer a dental plan, that would help bring our total benefit package in line with most other people around here. And all in all, it's not that huge an expense. But
So what you said was right now, there's 11 members that are paying for their dental themselves, and that costs 13 grand.
yep,
And if you were to have everybody included in a dental plan,
as a family,
As
in
a-
a family plan. But like I'm in the dental plan, but I don't buy the family plan. I buy a two-person plan. I don't know, what is it? I might have
they
those.
have that.
Yeah, I have it in here too somewhere. There's 3 singles, 3 two-persons, and 5 families currently. But I would imagine if we were to offer one, I think most people would take advantage of it. I'm not probably at the family level, but, because some people don't have the family that would
Right.
require it. Would probably, some of them would be singles, some of them would be doubles, and some of them would be families, but I don't know what that percentage, I haven't asked everybody what, if we offered you dental, what would it be, a family plan or a double or a single?
But you can plan for worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario was the 30-something thousand. Yeah. But those are some of the options that I think we need to look at to help bring us in line with what's going on right now, salary-wise.
Well, right now, what's in our budget represents a 10.8% increase.
Yes. That's what the commissioners have approved.
Does that include the call firefighters?
Call firefighters are a separate line,
Yes, but does that include
they
a
get,
10.8% for them?
they're getting a bigger raise than that, actually. So, call firefighter pay is different than.
I understand that.
So their base pay for a firefighter or an EMT is like $17. I'm bringing it up to $20. And a probationary one, somebody without any certifications, will start at $15. Then once they get a certification, either EMT or firefighter one, they'll go to $20 an hour. And then for every certification they get after that, they throw in another $1 an hour, another $1 an hour. So that's how our call companies can pay.
Doesn't Walmart pay more than that?
Yeah.
No, quite as dangerous a job, but maybe it is.
Yeah.
Walmart.
Now,
I'm being prejudiced.
your full-time guys, they have to be advanced EMT and firefighter one, right?
Firefighter
Firefighter
two
Firefighter two.
and advanced
You can be a
EMT,
firefighter
and
for
pass the
$15 an
CCAT
hour.
exam and.
So but the call guys only have to be EMTs, not
The
advanced
call,
EMTs?
the call guys don't have to be anything. We'll take them as they are and we'll train them up.
But what
Yes,
you
perfect.
just were talking about the wage scale when you said the call guys, when they were certified, and you said EMT, I just want to make sure, is that when they're certified as AMTs, AEMTs,
No,
or
just an
EMTs?
EMT.
Just a regular
Just
basic, a
basic.
basic EMT.
Okay, so the call guys, basic EMT and still firefighter too?
No, they can be a firefighter one,
Or not at all.
or not at all.
No, I get it, but
But you train them.
you just, Kathy, what he just said was he wanted to bring them up to 20. I want to
That's
find
correct.
out what the $20 an hour is buying us,
One certification,
which is fire.
either fire or EMS.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're just schlepping pails of water. Yeah, right? Water boy.
So it's the discussions we've had on this, and maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to me that this all started because I'm gonna call it beginning firefighter for Tilton was being paid too low, was paid too low.
Yes.
What are those that have been here? Well, I guess it doesn't matter the years, it's the certifications they have? Paramedics and firefighters?
So,
Are they also paid too low
yes, because,
comparatively?
yeah,
Yes.
because all our salaries are,
But you don't have a step, you're not union, so
we have a wage scale
You do have
approved
a
by the
wage
fire,
scale.
approved by the fire commissioners.
I wasn't aware of that. Okay, maybe I missed it in conversation, okay.
So
And that hasn't been deviated from?
well, every year when we get a COLA, we adjust that wage scale to reflect what the given COLA was. And it all begins with the starting firefighter's pay. It's one number you put in the beginning of the spreadsheet. Once you plug that number in, the formula takes care of everything else.
Okay, but I mean, the commissioners have not deviated that and recognized that maybe somebody wasn't getting paid enough and,
So no,
okay.
so our
Having
captains,
been a selectman for a number of years, I know that happens.
well,
And then we end up with this,
That's what I asked for.
you know, somebody's getting paid here and somebody's getting, it just
So
doesn't
we-
work out well.
we try to
It's nice
keep-
to hear that they're sticking to the
yeah,
scale.
we don't, if you're a firefighter, you're in the firefighter line, and depending upon what step you are, determines what you make. Now, if you're a firefighter and a paramedic, that's a separate line, which is right below it. Because you're a paramedic, we pay you 10% more.
Okay. And that hasn't been skewed.
No. And, you know, if you're a captain, your line is down here, you're below that, and you get, depending upon what step you in, you get that. So there are firefighters that have been here for a very long time that make almost the same, or sometimes more than what a new captain makes, because of where they are in the steps.
And you're proposing that we keep I don't have my paperwork, was it 3 that we hired under that grant?
Or,
4,
yes,
that we keep them
yes,
with no grant.
that's correct.
Well, you're probably gonna tip over in your seat when you hear me say this, but for years and years, I was dead set against hiring any additional personnel. Can't say that nowadays. Can't say it. Just too busy. And grant or no grant, I think those 4 additional people are not a gift, but a requirement.
Here I go.
Yeah.
All over my chair.
Never thought I'd say
I was
that.
gonna say I just had heart failure.
Again?
You have a heart?
Well, Chief, I guess the main question I have is that if our goal is to bring our staff up to, if nothing else, the average in the area, and you've stated that the 10.8 was calculated this summer, what would we need to authorize for a % increase in order to get it up to the average?
I think you, it was, yeah, somewhere around 18%.
Yeah, I think
It
that's-
is.
We picked, Jason threw out $25 to get it started, and that worked out to get everybody average.
I thought the 10.8% was the average.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
originally.
but when you look at,
Look at this, it's July.
okay,
Right. That was like the old average.
Yeah, that
Right.
was the
Not
old
the, not
average,
the average on the horizon.
yes.
And I was just like, well, maybe we ought to shoot a little further, aim a little higher.
18.48%, I have a note when Jason
When
said
Jason
that.
threw it out there.
But that was the $25 an
Just a
hour.
flat
Yes.
number to,
Right.
Oh,
So,
sorry.
do you have an idea of what the percentage increase would be? You said maybe 18% to get us to the average?
Charlie
I
just,
think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I thought that was the
18.48.
$25 per hour.
that is.
That is,
That's
yeah.
that's what the percentage
Right.
is,
and
To
and if
To
you-
go from 2110,
to
25.
25, and then you look at where everybody is.
So the 25 would be updating it to the existing
Yeah.
data you have here. Okay. You say that was 18%?
yeah, because 20% would be $4. Or $4.10,
$4, yeah, right around there.
$4.11.
The 25 would bring it above the average of these communities listed.
It would, on the upper line, but not the lower line, with the blue. That's
Well-
what people are offering.
But then next year, we might not have to give a huge, because it might keep us more in line.
I mean, can we really compete with Guilford? Little
We have
Concord?
We have to.
Wyndham?
We just lost a guy.
How can we, Derry?
Guilford
How can we? The people you're asking to pay for this budget don't have the same income as the people that live in these communities.
But the people in this community require the same or more services than the people in Guilford.
And if they can't pay for it? I mean, my concern is as a selectman, I know in Tilton, people are gonna be struggling to keep their homes next year because we're gonna be reassessed. And because the market is so skewed, residential homes are gonna be assessed way beyond what they're actually worth. I mean, so that's my concern. And I look at, when I see Guilford, I'm like, I mean, look at all the lakefront property they have, the commercial property they have. But let's not even talk about Gunstock Acres that they have to tax. We don't have that tax base. Northfield certainly doesn't have that tax base. I have a huge concern, but I agree with you. I mean, we still want the same level of service, but I think more of the human beings that are giving us that service. I mean, how do you balance, if this budget passes as it's written here, you're looking at about a $600,000 increase over last year.
Sure.
How do we ask our residents to pay for that?
Right, and the 50 people who show up, who are against a dollar increase or whatever, because they're not getting it and all this stuff, you know, there's 8 that are a little more progressive. And then
I
you
know.
have how many, what do we have in these 2 towns? 10,000 people maybe, or
It's
whatever?
about
It's about
10,000.
9,000, there's a little more in Northfield. Tilton's almost 4,000, Northfield's what, almost 5?
I think, when I did the thing the other day, it was 8,999.
In Northfield? Oh, both,
Both towns
okay.
combined.
I was gonna say, holy crap, Northfield
Well,
grew.
9,000.
Yay, that's gonna lower our tax rate for the school district. No, never mind, sorry. But, yeah, that's my concern.
Right.
And I was thinking of that, and I was thinking, okay, well, you know, just say vote yes to this, and the minuscule amount of people that show up at
Right.
town meeting can deal with it. But
90% of them, what I've seen, they don't want much anything except to
no,
voice their opinions. But we're commission, we're whatever, the committee for all 9,000 people.
I know, but again, I'm like,
8,900 don't show up to vote.
They only show up when you're talking about throwing up a building.
I'm between two boulders in a really, really hard place, because on the other hand, I have these human beings that run into this danger, and then I think of the people I'd have to pay for it.
But then, don't forget the turnover, the cost of turnover. It just adds up between overtime and
Gear,
gear.
stuff.
Well, we don't want just a department full of newbies.
No. But what we have right now is we have a core of guys that've been here for a while.
Yes.
And a core of newbies.
Yes,
And you don't want, you want an even spread throughout the thing, because when these older guys start retiring or leaving or moving up, you want people with some experience to take those other, positions. And it's good to have somebody with, not only with the knowledge, skills, and abilities, but some experience behind that and some localized knowledge
Knows the
that they can
neighborhood
carry.
and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, to assume those roles.
I mean, half of that $600,000 increase is $300,000 in the salary line.
Yeah.
Four additional men.
It's taken on the grant.
Taking the grant, the funding that we would have had for the grant had continued,
You're talking about the SAFER grant?
yeah.
Yeah, well, it didn't, and it wasn't. But you said that anyway, we knew that going in. Torn, I don't know, people, any more discussion? What do you think?
10%'s a lot, in people's minds. 18%, I think they'd go ballistic.
Well, we increased it by what, 7% last year?
7.5.
7.5. So now you're looking at 10.8. So,
Well, look at the percentage that at Walmart or McDonald's have increased their pay. I don't think it's out of line.
yeah, they haven't
Yeah,
increased their
it's-
pay for 20 years.
Everybody looks at the nastiest number when it's like, okay, it's $2 or $4. Dollars. What can you get for $2 or $4 anymore? Oh no,
No.
10%, 18%. Everybody looks at the biggest, nastiest stuff. Like when we did the sewer rate increase years ago, it was like, ooh, double digit. No, that was on like the variable part. We didn't change the base rate. We only changed the little per cubic foot thing. But that, oh my gosh, that went up 2.5 cents. Oh, that was like a 47% increase because you went from 2.5 cents to 3.5 cents or something. Like, people are always going to focus on the bad number. But hey, $2, $4.
$300,000 is a bad number to me.
Well, the 300,000, there's a lot of discussion about that because you're saying, oh, we're going to spend through that fourth person, we're spending all that money, but our ambulance charges are only going to go up 50 grand. So it's not about making money. From a business perspective, it's about providing a level of service and having the availability of that service when you need it. If it's just math, then the fourth person doesn't really make sense. I was on the budget committee when we didn't even have 24-hour coverage. Remember? We weren't even running full shifts. We
I
went around the
remember
clock.
we had about, when we only had Center Street.
So it was a big
They were
deal
like
to get that
4 or 5
that extra shift on to have round the
Are you
clock
kidding?
coverage. Then it was, oh, we're gonna go from 2 per shift to 3 per shift. Oh my gosh.
I remember when the police department had 4.
So,
shift, or
No,
just 4?
just 4.
but
Well, I think it's-
Paul's point is that he never wanted to hire the talent. I was never big on buildings or trucks, but I always wanted to spend on the talent we have. I was not about growing the department myself, but I was more about retention
Well, without
and
question.
pay and benefits and
The biggest
that stuff.
asset that we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
They're
is
people.
The people.
is that
yeah.
sound,
So,
without question.
yeah.
I've seen them in action.
And a lot of the guys that I've talked to, they're
Worth
like, yeah,
the
we're
investment.
not that into buildings and trucks either, because buildings don't go to the scene. You know, the trucks get you there, but, you know, the buildings never take you to the show. So I'm
I guess I was hoping opening up the apparatus and equipment fund would take a little more of the sting off of this.
Oh, Scott, we were on that committee that looked at different ways of offsetting the cost, and this was one of them. We looked at impact fees, but in the end decided that was not a good thing for the community overall. There's not a whole lot of other places to look. I mean, I applied for another grant, but where we are and how the grant is written, it blew us right out of the water, what they're looking for. So we weren't very high on the list.
One of the drawbacks to that grant proposal was the balance in our equipment and apparatus fund, right?
So that's for AFG grants when we're trying to buy, like, for instance, the SCBA's. I tried to get through a grant. Everybody gets SBA's through an AFG grant. We had $600,000 in the bank. And they said, you got $600,000 in the bank, buy them yourself. That's what they say to me.
yeah. When they don't understand, you're trying to save up for a truck and you have a
They'll
very
even take that,
responsive.
they'll even take that into consideration, but this is, you know,
So if we do go with the 10.8% this year, what do you anticipate next year?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like trying to figure out what everybody else is gonna do around town. What are all the other towns gonna do?
Well, you certainly can't expect to jump them up another 10%.
That's why I was looking at, you know, maybe an educational incentive that, you know, makes us different, makes us a little bit more attractive. Maybe adding dental to our package of benefits that we don't have now, kind of help bring us in line with some of the other, most of the other communities around us. I think those are two good options to look at, you know, bring online. You know, dental making us more competitive in that, you know, benefits.
What about longevity bonuses?
I looked at that too. So I looked at two or three different ways of doing longevity bonus. Now, I don't have the final costs on those, but I got a lot of data here, so. So longevity, one of the plans I looked at was that for starting at 5 years, for every year you're on the job, you get another % raise for longevity. So if you hit 6%, 6 years, you get a 1% raise. 7 years, it goes up another 1%, and so on. And I looked at that plan, and I looked at who we have here and how long they've been here, and this isn't the entire number because I didn't figure in Medicare and stuff like that, but the cost of the actual benefit itself. If you did the 1 year plan with everybody that we have here and the number of years that they're serving, that benefit would cost $113,132. So okay, let me look at another way at it. So after you're here for 5 years, you get a 3% raise. Then after you're here 10 years, you get another 3% raise. Then, and it maxes out at 20%, so you'd have to be here like a long time to get 20%. But with everybody that we have here now and stuff like that, that plan cost $92,069.
So some longevity bonuses are just that, a bonus. It's not an increase in wage, it's a bonus. So that sometimes they're paid in 6 month increments or quarterly or just annually at the end of the year. Anybody who's been here for 5 years as of December 1st gets
X.
extra $2,000 or $5,000 or blah, blah, blah.
How does the town do it?
That way. It's not an increase in wage. It's a bonus.
It does? No, we don't do that.
Well, talking about it.
Oh. I don't recall doing that ever.
is what we're talking about. To
That's, that's another way
to
of
keep
doing it.
employees.
Yeah, that's another way of doing it. All the ones that I've been involved in my other fire departments that I've been on, it was they just included it as part of your wage.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier for you to, so for the town, it's easier to digest because it's, you're not paying, there's a lot of things you're not paying on it. so
Right,
it
I
doesn't-
understand that as well.
yeah.
You're not paying
It's cheaper, just to give them a lump sum of money.
It is cheaper.
Take the payroll taxes out of it, and here you go, thank you very much.
Doesn't go into retirement.
No.
No.
So what's retirement?
Anyway, all right, so,
12%, something like that, 23%. How much is the retirement add-on to?
30.0205 or something like that.
Yes.
It's around 30%.
any more discussion on salaries and wages, gentlemen,
Yes.
ladies?
Yes. So, back to your suggestion of a bonus instead of longevity, what would you propose for a longevity bonus, if anything?
Oh, I have no idea. I know what we're looking at for town, Tim's figured it out for us. But we discussed a couple of figures. 2,000 was one of them.
For 5 years,
Mhm.
and then,
And then, 10 years, go to either 4,000 or 5,000. Do we want
so
one?
so at 5 years, you would suggest maybe $2,000. Then at 6 years, nothing, 7 years, nothing, until you get to 10 years, and then it's another value. Okay.
But that's not gonna affect the problem that we're trying to solve as far as starting
doesn't-
pay.
correct.
That's not gonna factor into that.
No, that's just a way to keep.
That's
It's
more
just
of a
a little
retention.
bit-
Right, well, exactly,
Retention
which
bonus.
Yeah.
I think Jason was, I don't wanna put words in your mouth, but I think that's what you were driving at with the $25 per hour to start.
It's a mix of that, it's attracting talent if we need it, but you don't wanna, it's also, there's a retention piece in there, because you have to really look at why, if anybody's leaving here, why are they leaving? Are they leaving because of the money? Are they leaving because of the benefits? Do they just need to move? I mean, but, we've had instances, the chief has talked about people that don't live anywhere near here. It's not about living here. If you're gonna come and drive and work a 24-hour, work a shift, distance isn't a big deal, so.
Well, I think
If you're a younger person, you just need to make money. I had times in my life where I just wanted to make money and I didn't want any insurance at all, until the Obama thing came along and you had to have insurance, or you get fined at the end of when you filed your income taxes. If you didn't have insurance, you had to pay a fine to go into the Affordable Care Act, right? So I had a time in my life, I just needed to make money and I didn't care about having a doctor. Then I got to a phase in my life where now I work for the state because I really wanted good health benefits, and I took kind of a hit and pay to seek that. So you kind of have to look at your own business unit and say, well, where's the staff? If they're leaving, where are they leaving? Why are they leaving? Or what do they like about it that you can, Chief does that. It's cultural, it's the training, it's the, there's things that are unique to this town, or two towns unique to this department that are attractive. And that's really just knowing the team and interviewing and, at review time, or, having your finger on the pulse of the talent. What excites them and what motivates them, and how do you, there's a financial piece to that, of course there is.
We're kind of bouncing around 3 different, maybe, proposals here. One is the 10.8%. One is a 10.8 plus some longevity or some incentive plan. And the other is 18%. And I guess what I'd like to know is, what direction should we be focusing on? And let's vote on that, rather than just vote on this number.
The only thing we can vote on is what's in this budget, it's the 10.8. Longevity bonus is up to the commissioners.
Right. Which is this.
The only thing we can vote on is this bottom line,
Well,
right there, total salaries
the
and
bonus-
wages.
No, you
bonus
can
is
change
having
that
to
number
come from
anytime,
somewhere.
you can make that number anything you want.
That's
Right.
right, that's what I'm saying, we can vote on that.
And
But we
the
can't
commissioner,
vote on
the kid and the
longevity
chief, you gotta figure out
bonuses
how they're
or-
gonna spend it.
You know, anything creative like that, that's all up to the commissioners. Right now, it's, do we give them a 10.8%? Do we give them, what is half of that, 5.4? Do we give them 11? Do we give them, what number do you wanna see in that line? That's the question.
Do you do like a combination, or you do like the 10.8 plus the dental, or I don't know?
I mean, a lot of these are predictable costs. If you look at the chief's thing, contracts, municipalities with CBAs, those are all on the New Hampshire Clerk website. You can look up exactly what they had negotiated, and typically it's 3 to 6% is sort of where most of these departments on here are. So next year, these departments that are at 23 are going to be, you know, probably close to 25. You know, just with scaling it out. So I think whatever we do, if we don't get to 25 this year, I think we're definitely going to have to be talking about the same thing next year, where we're going to have to get them to 25. So I personally like CBAs because they allow you to have a predicted cost over time, so that, you know, if we wanted to do a 10.8 this year, we'd probably be, I would guess, close to a 10.8 next year to get everybody to 25, but it might spread the cost out a little better. But it's not a guarantee.
Scott,
You know.
let me understand, so if somebody's making $23 in a CBA situation, and they're gonna get a 3% raise, that doesn't even cross the decimal point, then they're at 23.60 or 23.40, they're not even, they're not jumping dollars.
Well, it'd be most are 6%. That was
Percent,
factored on
okay,
6%.
6%
So you get the
over-
3 compound,
yeah.
the 3 compound.
Yeah.
Maybe not the 23, but the 23.90 one certainly would. And the
Most of
20
them, when they bargain, don't bargain by the percentage, they bargain by the wage they want.
Yeah,
And then somebody figures out what the percentage is.
yeah, you do the reverse engineering, and go,
Yes, oh, wow, okay.
yeah.
It's just tough for the members of the department to be in flux, because every year it's dependent on 2 separate groups negotiating their pay, which is, for morale and retention, a difficult thing as well for them and their families to not have any idea where or you guys are going to do next year. But I
But
think
if they
that,
have a wage scale, they shouldn't have,
One thing
Yeah.
that you guys aren't taking into consideration, next year is a 53-week pay year.
is it what?
It's 53 weeks instead of 52. That's why there's such,
It bumps a little.
it bumped a little. It's based on 53 weeks, not 52.
What is 1 week at?
Well, every so many years, you have to add a
Yeah.
weekend because.
I know,
Leap
leap
week.
year, so what
Leap
is,
week.
what is a week worth of wages? It's at what, 50, 60,000?
Oh,
Not
No,
even
no,
that.
not that much, it's,
Yeah,
oh,
20,
but you have to factor in
all
all
everything
the other
else.
things else.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a little I honestly didn't know that we didn't provide dental. That kind of surprises me.
Me too.
Yes.
I think we have to do that personally. I don't know how we can be competitive and not offer dental. That's a basic function that every municipality in the world offers dental. I can't
Right.
fathom that.
These aren't self-employed people like me.
that's
Yeah.
again up to the commissioners.
Exactly.
But yeah, I agree. 10.8 is a pretty big hit from the taxpayers as well. It's, you know, at least in my head, I'd like to see kind of that spread out over 2 years to get to the 25. So like a 10 this year and a 10 next year, and maybe add dental in as sort of.
We can't commit to next year. do we?
I know we can't, but that's at least where my, you know, I would like us to get to 25 as well. It's just how do we do that, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know, is it 1 year, or we're gonna be talking like this next year again?
Well,
You
that's
know?
the thing, I mean, if you take Jason's proposal, go to it now we're ahead of the game, maybe next year, it's maybe next year we're back in line, and we're only looking at a 3% 3 to 6% increase versus
Could.
None of these other towns are gonna cut pay, right?
True.
They're gonna hold the line, or they're gonna increase. Some of them by default, by automatic, because it's built into their collective bargaining.
Motions, anybody?
Does anybody ask the guy, the team, ask the guys what they think? Is this, has that been kind of worked through? What do you guys want? What's the big thing?
Yeah, I mean, you guys kind of threw a bunch of different ideas out there, and they're all problems for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that if you kind of unpacked a lot of things in your talk there, but the big problem right now is finding good talent and then getting them to stick around. Kind of to Jason's point. And right now, even if you're in a department that you like, this one in particularly, you can pretty easily jump somewhere else and make a lot more money without trying too hard. So people struggle with that, like, I like this place, I drive a long way to get here, I want to stay, but man, the fire service job market right now is competitive.
Right.
So I totally agree with Scott's, with his point there that, it's nice to be able to be like, all right, I'll look out future and what's going to step out to for my family, but the crisis right now is finding good people and getting them to stick around. I would say that's the number one problem. I mean, I can speak for my own shift. I think I was thinking about it today, and there are various reasons in here. I've had 7 new people in the last 2 years that we've spun up, and then they've left for various reasons.
Right.
And that's tough. It's tough on the shifts. It's tough on the department. I think that's your number one.
I feel, I'm glad you said that, because I feel like we have to patch the hole in the boat with the payroll. I don't know. I mean, is dental a big deal? It's still something you got to pay for. So you need money to do that. So, no, thanks for saying that, because I feel that that's, we got to plug the, turnover is just not just an expensive thing, as Eric said, but it wears on you.
Well, the mandatory overtime that you gotta put into it, you're just adding on to these guys and. I know we have a vacancy. Do we still have that?
We've got it
Today's his first day.
Today's his first day.
Yeah.
So how long did it take to fill that position? It was like a month,
About
wasn't
a
it?
month
So that's a month worth of
overtime.
overtime.
And this was a particularly short window. Most of them a lot longer than
Why did the commissioners take $15,000 out of the call salaries and wages?
that. Because the participation of the call company is slowly decreasing, and they figured that it'll probably, that trend will continue.
Really?
Really,
Because it was up in 21.
COVID.
That was during COVID, so there are a lot more of them around. Now they're back to work, and if they're down in Concord, they're not gonna respond to a call.
I never thought of that. Cool.
COVID.
Makes sense.
So they were around because they could work from home or wherever, or maybe they weren't working, so they took advantage of the opportunities, but we haven't spent anywhere near the budget.
No.
Can we recognize Matt he had his hand up or something?
Oh, I'm
Sorry, I thought of one thing that I just kind of pertains to it.
Just say
Or
hey,
actually,
you.
what's that?
Just say, hey, you.
No, I can't do that.
Matt, would you like to speak?
This isn't like ZBA. That's not. They run fast and loose over there, but
wild. We just lost our number 1 pick on this vacancy because he went to another organization, chose another spot because he could make more money. So I mean, just like to reinforce that point, it's just it's a battleground out there to find good help. Thank you.
And Eric, maybe you can speak on this. How did you guys settle on the 10.8? Was that just, like, what was your thought process for that?
It was a split vote, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, there was a different proposal that didn't pass, but it was, the 10.8 we felt was a good number. We have to be at least the average. We didn't really talk about going above it, but it was just getting us average, but, knowing next year we're probably gonna be in the same boat, That's gonna be the big thing, is, maybe if we do the big jump now, it'll be less of a jump next year, I don't know. That's the big what if. And,
Well, it's the same problem we have every year.
yeah,
It's nothing it is.
Nothing worse than being the training department in a region, whether it's,
No.
especially in emergency services.
And I think we had someone leave, they went to Guilford, right? And they're getting, what, $5 or $6 more an hour?
Well, I don't know if it's 6, but a substantial raise from what we were
Yeah.
paying.
You know,
Can afford it.
Guilford can't keep having openings forever, because if life's great in Guilford, nobody should be leaving Guilford, so there should be no openings.
Then retiring.
Yeah, that's what I mean, it'll come off the other end, but
They
it's
moved
like,
to Florida.
what I'm saying, there's,
Chief, why did you leave the 15,000 in yours for call?
Because I think taking money out of the call line is demoralizing and depressing to the people in the call department, saying they don't appreciate us as much as,
Interesting
Wow.
perspective.
but all they gotta do is show up and get paid, and the
they
money
show
will
up, they're
come from
gonna get
somewhere.
paid.
So,
But it's like an initial hit, you know.
yeah,
like,
it hurt my
oh,
feelings,
Yeah. I mean, we don't, let's see you guys. See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Would like to use them more, but they're just not around.
Right.
And,
That was the reason why we lowered it. It wasn't, we like to
no,
talk to them, but the reality is,
I say it every year in this event, if you're not spending it, they're not,
we just lost 2 more call people,
yeah.
Emily and Mike. Emily's moving because her boyfriend's in Conway, North Conway, and Mike is a career firefighter in Hudson. He still lives here,
Right, right.
but he has a young child. He's got another one on the way. He just doesn't have the time. And they're doing mandatory overtimes down in Hudson too,
Right.
and so he's just like, I don't want to be a name on the list. Because that's all I am right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, by the time you get up here for something to deal with, it doesn't make much sense, yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of issues here, a lot of fronts that you gotta fight this battle on, and you have to be creative to try and approach this project, and that's why, I looked at, like, the call guys, I didn't wanna really cut that line, but I can understand, and it probably won't be a problem, but to me, it was a psychological thing, that I didn't wanna cut that line. With the pay raise, yeah, we need to be at least in the middle, but if we want to try and get ahead of that instead of always trying to reach it. And I thought one of the ways we could do that was, with the incentive program, where let's be different than everybody else around here, and maybe that'll attract them. And I always thought we should be offering a dental plan. But the commissioners have not jumped on that, or because I don't know, you'd have to ask the commissioners, I don't want to speak for them. But I think it's a part of our total package that we could offer employees. It just makes sense when you're looking at who you're competing against. So yeah, $23 an hour and change, that brings us into the middle. We offer an educational incentive that sets us apart. It costs money, yes, but it sets us apart. It makes us a little bit different than other people. But certainly having a dental plan is something that, bring us in line with your benefits package, where we're lacking in that.
I have a strange question. Once the SAFER grant is over with, what requires us to have 4 people on per shift?
The call volume.
Just the volume?
Yeah.
I mean, but theoretically, we're not beholden to them we only had to have 4 on during the course of the grant.
Technically,
Yeah.
that's correct, yeah.
So most people would ask, we have 4 more people, you say, because of the call volume, that's why we're keeping them. But before we had these people, was the call volume,
Yeah, it was less. When I,
what would that
Or we
be?
were using more mutual aid than we were providing.
Way
It
more
was-
mutual
yeah,
aid
it
than we
was-
were
it was-
providing.
It was,
Oh.
you know.
Okay.
we were using a mutual aid ambulance like 94 times and providing it like 17 times.
Okay,
Now that we're, with the 4 people, we're like 50-50.
okay,
The call volume, when we hired the SAFER staff, was around 1,800. Now we're at 21, 22, 2,300.
Seems like they go by
It's a
the house at
twen-
least twice a day.
It's a
Oh,
20,
yeah.
gone up 25%.
Well, take this morning, I mean, there was a car accident on 93 that all of them went to, then there was a fire across the street, PCC.
Yeah,
And they had to bring the engine, and someone brought the ladder truck, I mean, I just happened to be listening to the scanner, because I've been doing that a lot lately, just to see, but, plus I wanna see how the roads work.
Anybody wanna entertain a motion?
Well, I was just gonna throw out, kinda in between what we proposed and then what Jason proposed, well, like 24, but then also add in the insurance, the health insurance.
Eric,
No,
Eric
sorry,
is
that's
forever the mediator. Eric always likes to blend and,
George Bush Senior.
oh, he's Mr. Beat you halfway.
Yeah.
You've always been that way, but that,
Is that bad or is that
What
good?
exactly
it's a good,
does
comfortable thing to-
your bottom line
Yeah.
number include? Does that include a dental? I mean, in the sheet it shows dental.
yeah, my bottom line, if you look at, there's two blue numbers and two yellow numbers in the middle of the page. So the blue number to the left is the average of what the starting salary is.
Yes.
And then the blue number on the right-hand side is the average of the total package.
Yes, but in your $1,975,407,000, does that include dental?
No,
No,
no.
No dental. Okay.
Dental would go in a different line.
yes,
It would end up under the insurance.
yes.
I mean, do you have the numbers on what it would be if we went to split the difference by chance, or would it just be splitting that number in half pretty much?
The dental?
Well, for the 25 was 132 and change, so we basically cut that in half if we're looking at.
We don't have dental listed on,
No, because
No.
it's employee paid.
you don't you have to show the expenses and the
No.
income? No.
It comes right up our paycheck and goes to,
So,
Dental is us.
yeah,
for
Delta
this-
Dental.
for the sake of argument, I'd like to make a motion to move the starting pay to $25 an hour and include dental. And if it votes and passes, we can vote the actual dollar amount. We can give Kathy the math to go back, and then we can re-vote it
On
at
the,
another
in the
meeting.
next meeting.
Except your dental, the dental amount is gonna go up under personal administration, isn't it, group health insurance?
Right,
Yeah.
The dental will go up there as
Well,
a
then we can-
separate
then we can
figure.
make two motions,
It'll
we
be
can
two-
make two
it'll be two
motions.
lines.
And then come back and re-vote those.
So right now, let's concentrate on salaries and wages.
All right.
For
And
twenty,
then-
for
And then
$25,
we'll go back to
we have that number.
I
Okay.
have, I do.
page 3 and talk about dental.
Can we have those numbers, Kathy, for $25 an hour?
Yes. Career salaries and wages, 110 is $1,559,761.34.
751,
761.34.
so we could call it 762.
Call it 761. Holidays would be $71,003. Overtime,
Killer.
380,940, period.
940?
Yes.
Ouch.
It's like
Yeah.
$7,000 higher.
Mm.
$1.9 million. That's too
It is
bad. That is true, yeah.
With a grand
I didn't
total
get
of?
that.
$2,011,704.
Any idea what the tax rate would be for ballpark?
I do not know. I didn't figure that out.
What was it?
We
2
don't
million?
even have all the tax.
11,
Yeah, I know that they're just
Thousand.
finalizing
Yeah.
their, but
What is it, town? 50,000 is a, no,
For what?
tax rate, 50,000 is 10 cents.
For, I know for,
For don't.
hold on.
so we only
I
increased
recently,
it.
I didn't ask that question.
That increased it over the 10.8%.
Well, that's not including the 50,000 call salary.
Right, I was gonna say, that doesn't add up on this, that's a small jump
Oh, you
compared to
didn't
what's
add
on
the
this,
50,000?
what's on this.
No, that would be,
So 261?
yes, 2061.
6-1.
Let me plug those.
So the town rate, every $6,592 is 1 penny on the tax rate.
Yeah, so 50,000 used to be,
So
used to be 10 cents, so
it's
it's a
not
little
bad.
more.
Well, it's
Gone up.
No, it's actually not so bad. But
Okay.
they said, but it looks like 100,000 is roughly 15 cents added to the fire rate for the town.
Say that again?
But he said Kathy was my best bet for that. But he said it looks like roughly, this is just for the Tilton side of the taxes. 100,000 is roughly 15 cents on the tax rate. So if you have a $300,000 house, it's a 45 cent add on to the.
Seems like.
Well, no, it's just 100,000 is 15 cents per.
Per
100,000.
1,000.
Per 100,000.
No,
For 100,000.
Mhm.
Well, that's a little better.
So I pay 45 cents for the fire department if I lived in Tilton.
Well, no, that's.
For
no.
this increase,
So every time you increase the budget by $100,000,
So here you're looking at over,
if the tax rate was $1 per 1,000 for the fire side, it would be $1.15.
you're looking over, you're looking at $1
Whole dollar?
on the tax rate.
Remember,
That
Tilton
sounds
pays
good.
about 67% of the fire.
I'm Northfield. So
I'm
I
gonna-
pay the other.
I
I'll
know,
pay
I
$3
think-
so the guys can get 4. All of them. That's the
I'm-
beauty of it.
Per hour,
I'm
per hour.
confused about how this is adding up. What you're saying is if you increase the budget by $100,000, it increases the tax rate by 15 cents
On the Tilton side.
on the Tilton side, but that's 15 cents per thousand
Per thousand.
evaluation.
Per 1,000 evaluation,
1,000 or
yes.
100,000.
Right.
He said per 100,000.
Yeah, you said per
Well, that's what you
100,000
told me.
earlier.
That's what you told
Well,
me.
for every $1,000, that's what you multiply the tax rate
Well, I
by.
get it, but he said it was 15 cents for every $100,000.
That's what I said, that's what he told me.
No, no, so for
But
every
it looks like the
$100,000, so for every
$100,000
$100,000 add 15 cents. So this is about $300,000.
Right,
So add 90 cents to the tax rate.
right. And that's 90 cents per thousand, not per
There you
100,000.
go, then it starts going.
Right.
But it's two different formulas. What he was
Exactly.
saying is how you get to the 90 cents. And then to calculate it, what it's
And
gonna
Tim's
cost
like,
me as a resident of Tilton. Here we go. Oh my God, here comes the magician. Here he goes. This is it. This is the guy.
Save you some time.
Oh,
So, you're talking about, I hear you talking about the tax rate.
Yes,
So, what Eric's referring to is our town rate. So, you have to look at the apportionment of the fire district. So Kathy could probably
It's around
figure that out.
60% is
Yeah,
Tilton.
so,
Next year, I think.
so if you look at your increase, yeah, that's what it was about this year.
Yeah.
So,
yes,
That's
the
what I meant.
apportionment is 60.5783%.
So if you figure out what the Tilton increase would be, every penny is about $6,400. So $6,400 of increase is essentially a penny.
Really?
Our, for our current EV.
Right,
So we're doing a reval next year.
right.
But that's what it
Ouch.
is currently. Yeah. And ours went down slightly from prior year.
So when you,
Thank you, Jim.
so when you do an eval and your property goes up, the town, if the town doesn't raise the amount that they're spending, it's still your tax.
The
So
real rate
your
goes
tax,
down.
your value can go up, and then the tax rate comes down, but not in the same portion.
No.
So here's my property, here we are, my property goes up, and the tax rate is dropped a little bit.
My bill always went up. They never,
But
it doesn't
you're
break
gonna pay
even.
more, you're gonna pay more. This happened about
Well,
Right.
This
I think
happened in,
everybody pays more in the end because the
88,
town raises and
no,
appropriates more
2008.
money every year.
On our last reval
I
here,
watched the
Something.
meeting, he
They
mentioned, I watched the
stuck
meeting.
it to all the
Yeah, I
residential
remember when that
and
happened,
lowered
it was
the commercial.
horrible.
So all of the
People were
commercial
just-
properties got a break. And
I remember that
ours-
because
ours
Mine went from
They're gonna
8 to
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dennis
10,000.
Manning and I were pulling our hair out that each of our tax bills went up like 25%. You
Yeah.
know, I went from like 10 grand to like
It hurts
13.
new
or
home
12.
bought, so if somebody who's just bought a new home,
Mhm.
they've just moved in, been there a year or two, it hurts them the most.
Well, Franklin just did it, and everyone's rate went up and everyone's screamed. I mean, everyone's total tax.
Yeah, residential
Oh.
took a hard hit.
The last time it hit us, it skyrocketed, but anyway,
That's,
all right,
Yeah.
motion, anybody?
So, I make a motion to fund those lines as mentioned to the tune of $2,061,704 to represent that $25.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion?
So this would be a good statement when we're getting tarred and feathered at the annual meeting. So given that last information about apportionment and so forth, we're raising it, what are we raising it? How much is this increase, the $25 an hour, going to cost
101,000
Tilton guy?
is what it's gonna add to this, right?
Well, if we, my suggestion is, if we pass this, that when we get to the annual meeting,
We have that big.
we have the figures on the impact of Northfield and the impact of Tilton.
Yes.
Charlie talks about getting tired and feathered, but everybody knows the meeting's in March and Charlie never shows up. Either he's shit-faced or he's doing taxes,
I
so.
show up, I'm tired, but I'm here.
That's what we need to
It's
know.
tax time, so.
Maybe if it's not on the 14th.
The chief's gonna, or the commissioners
Yeah,
are
well-
gonna have to be prepared to justify the increase.
I thought those numbers available.
Yeah.
And don't just say because Guilford went up.
No,
Yeah,
definitely
it's-
not.
Nope.
This is gonna cost us in Tilton Northfield an extra, whatever it is.
Nickel, dime,
$500.
whatever.
My suggestion is to focus on the expertise of our people.
Yes. Okay.
Don't talk about this.
For the cost of replacing them, I mean, really.
And I think we should have a lot of firefighters to help us out.
Well,
The police.
most,
As long as the buzzers don't go off.
Is there a line for a detail
Actually, that's covered in relations.
in right here?
All right.
Maybe we need to increase
We have
that
a
line.
motion
yeah.
on the table. Any more discussion on the motion on the table? Going once, going twice. All right, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Okay, now that, we need to go back to personnel, to do social security, Medicare, retirement, because those numbers all changed.
Why didn't you say that before we voted on it? And associated lines.
They're gonna be what they're
And
going to be.
associated
I mean, the motion
And/or.
is really that
Can't say that now, because we already passed it.
I
that
know.
those social security, that line 220, 225,
Yes.
and 230
Yes.
be based on the bottom line figure of 4220.
Second.
All those in favor?
Discussion.
Life in the fast lane.
All right, so,
All right, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed and abstentions. Unfortunately, Uncle Sam doesn't want us dicker with those.
no,
Is it state retirement?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, have we accomplished our task?
nope, there's still one,
You know,
did we do?
he's never
dues and
happy.
no, we did dues and subscriptions.
Everything is
Yeah.
done.
That's what we started.
Everything
Subscription.
is done.
It's in the books.
Oh, actually,
Did you wanna make a, did you said you were gonna add dental, I'll make a motion about that.
I'm not. I got what I wanted.
why do I have 0 on page?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna defer to
7, did I
capital
not
instead.
fill it in?
I think
On page
this
7,
is a
what-
good.
Because we were
What
talking
our
about
dues-
if we were gonna
I
give
guess I didn't
24
put the
bucks.
amount in.
Yeah, right, I think
Okay.
this is,
But I've got a
So-
star there, so we
Okay.
must have voted on it.
6132.
We voted on
Dues
it.
and
Yeah,
subscriptions,
next year.
that's
maybe
not
next
all.
year.
We
yeah.
gave them the money
Uh,
with which to pay
No,
for it.
because that, we voted on that tonight,
Oh,
prior to
Yeah, I think.
your arrival.
Yeah.
All right, so am I correct, was I correct that dental would go up under line 4155?
so can I ask a question back on the wages and salaries? So what, if, by going to the $25 per hour starting pay, what is the increase as a percentage What's that?
18 point, we figured that out the other day.
About 18.
Yeah, about
18.
18. Charlie?
About 18 or?
18 and.
What was the
18
percentage?
point, it's 18.4.
18.48, just, I think I took one number and,
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't, I got it on.
That was the increase?
yeah.
yeah, $25 equals 18.48%, whether I calculated that on my phone or.
18.48.
Okay.
Yeah, the special legal
Well, we
law.
just did it.
Yeah, look at
No, no, we
Wow.
only gave 4%,
Five an hour.
no, just 4%.
It's in,
Five
hey,
an hour,
it's still gonna pass town meeting.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
Don't get their hopes up.
Buying patient.
Actually,
Bottom line, so. it's
if we study hard, we should be able to convince
8.48
them,
inclusive.
most of them.
Yes.
There's some,
I
just
think
not
with-
running through recently.
Well, at least this way, if they reduce it, it'll be, it won't be, you know what I mean? We'll see. We'll see, we'll see. All right, do we have a figure for dental? And where will you put it here? Under group health insurance?
Yes.
Because
Or
we
does it become a
can't
separate-
add
Does it
a
become,
line. Oh, no, can the budget committee add a line to the budget?
or can the
Can we
commissioner,
do that?
It would
Do
go
the
under
commissioners
group
have to do
health.
that?
what line number?
I don't know.
210, page 3.
I don't know if I have my budget book. Nope, it's in the town one.
I don't
It's
know.
on page 3.
That's what I see in here.
Are you looking for a copy?
Chapter 32, but that's okay.
Time for a motion to adjourn. or-
Too many long rocks, I
It's
like a
getting
bunch
ready
of
to
rocks
sit
today.
here.
Kill.
When's our next meeting? It's like,
That is the 18th, and it's at Tilton PD.
It is?
Yes, it is.
What day is
I
it?
will send a reminder,
Those are great. I'll tell
Monday the
ya.
18th
At the PD?
at the PD.
Oh, I have
12/18.
And she has it,
PD.
puts it in the minutes, you know, next meeting, next, that's
Okay.
cool, I like that.
She sends out an email.
Well, no, when I get the minutes, I
Did we
I
get a
open
price
that
for dental insurance?
Chief is pulling that out.
Well, we have, if everybody took family, which wouldn't happen, it would be $35,344.56.
So $345.
No,
No.
35,000.
$345, no cents.
$345, yes.
Yeah,
You're right. That's if everybody took family, but not everybody's
not
gonna.
everybody's going to take family.
Then he
We
had a
have
figure when,
singles, we have doubles, we have,
if he went through who probably need it, and they're singles and doubles and families or whatever, that was like 13,000 or 15,000.
With the 11 people in.
Based on the current enrollment.
13,000.
It's 13,300,
for everybody that has it
everybody
now.
that
Yeah.
has it now.
But you can't
Well-
really, but you really can't load the budget that way, because if you're gonna add something like that, then
You
people are
have
gonna
to
say,
add everybody.
right, you're gonna say, well, I want it, well, I want it, you know.
Oh, yes, you
Yeah.
have
You're not
to
gonna- right.
provide
Better
for
than
it for
the wife's
everybody.
deal.
Right.
Yeah,
How many personnel do you have?
19 that would be
19.
eligible to take it. So I'm trying to figure out.
Yes, I can,
Can't, yeah.
yes. What?
Did you figure, I was gonna say, you can figure those out, right?
the plans
Yes.
aren't that expensive when you pay your own either. They're not terrible.
Yeah, $2,000 to $700, so it depends on which one you get. Well, I'm just looking at this line, don't,
Well, this is one of those things, you also gotta consider, would we
That's
just
what they're paying.
fund it for everybody to get a single, and then the employees can pay over and above that, or do we pay for anything that, you know, because we've gone that route with some of the other insurances over the years.
The current health insurance program that we have here is that the employees pay 12% and the district pays 88%.
Right. But there was a time when I think we used to fund it for every staff member, to just, we would pay for the single. And if they wanted to add their spouse, they had to pay the full
That
bill
was-
for
that
their
was-
spouse or their family. Or
That's correct.
That kind of
So
grandfathered out.
Ease into it.
Yeah. Yeah, there was kind of a sunset on that.
So,
I worked with like, is it like the
35, 345. Would we be gambling if we put it at 30,000?
No,
No.
I'm working on it now, so.
Because there's some people that just aren't eligible for family, because they're
Yeah,
single.
yeah.
Right.
Well, some people may get it from their spouse's insurance and may opt out. Do you have an opt-out option on your insurance?
The health insurance, yes.
Do people partake of it?
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah, you don't see it with dental.
I like being old. All of you pay for my insurance. Theoretically.
No, I make sure mine doesn't go towards yours.
Yeah, I just write a check direct.
I mean, if you believe that Social Security ran out how many years ago? Even though I didn't.
Well, you paid for it too.
Well, I thought I did, but they tell you differently.
Is
Ran
dental in
out.
Social Security?
Pardon?
Is that, you mean Medicare? Is there dental in that?
No.
Have to buy it.
I just, no, I just,
Unless you buy the rider.
Oh,
I brushed my
I'm
teeth
heading that
once a day.
way.
I
Pretty
just
soon.
You buy the rider. Oh, here you go.
I've almost got it.
This is a first.
What?
20 years of budgeting where I've actually been in a budget committee where we increased and added.
Yeah, I think you're right. We just have to make sure that we get all the tax, everything, and a really good package to present. I wouldn't even, I'd go as far as even a modified one of these to pass out so everybody can see exactly kind of the decisions that we had to make as well. I think that would help.
I can certainly update that to what will be next year, just before a district
Yeah.
meeting.
And I'll tell you, if you want them happy, we'll print this out and give it to them.
Yep. I
Not give them the municipal service form.
Printed them
Or
back
they
to
could
back.
come to the public hearing and get one themselves.
They could, but they
That's
won't.
true.
I know, that's
So-
my point.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you want
You're right.
happy people right off at the beginning, we will print this and give it to them. Otherwise,
Print it back to back though, so we use less paper.
Print it like four
Double-sided.
up on a sheet.
Hand out magnifying glasses, you know, so.
If that's what you guys want.
That was at Home Depot. They print all the reports. They do that 2 up and 4 up, fold it, put it in your apron. Less paperweight. But
the problem is, well, we're waiting for that, we talk about this. If you put the actuals on from 21 and 22, they're lacking the explanation that we got. Because if you go through here, you'll see 1 year money was spent, 1 year it wasn't, you know, the whole COVID thing, it's not there.
$28,219.32.
Be the maximum
Mhm.
if everyone got it.
If everyone
If
got it,
everyone
that's
got
for
it,
19
that's-
people.
Okay.
That's 3 singles, 4 two-person, and 12 family.
And say it again?
$28,219.32.
So you can make it 28,
Yes.
220. few pennies.
too.
I could just,
I'll take them, because they all add up.
that's why I
Superman
always
3,
put
Richard Pryor,
up in this.
channel all half cents in his account.
So is Mike's number of 13,000 if the expected people take it, still good?
The current people.
That's the current
Current
people.
people. So that's actual number kind of
Yeah.
estimate.
Yeah, so I did the
The
actuals.
Kathy's number is
If everybody takes
if
it,
everybody takes it to the limit that they can. So like, I could not take a family plan because I don't qualify that, but I could get a double plan.
Right.
Which is saving the budget right there.
There you go.
and I figured everybody at what they were at.
So could we throw on 15,000 that we expect for a budget figure?
That's 28,220.
That's if everyone takes it, they're not going to.
Well, you have
We
to-
don't know that.
You
We
don't
don't
know,
know
you have to
that.
budget.
You have to budget
We
for
don't
it.
know anything,
They
we were
may change
expecting.
their mind and go, oh, well, now.
Yeah, but if you
now-
just take his number 13,000, add 15,000, it's $28,220.
Right,
Could be
we're
better
trying to
than
go
their
on lower
spouses.
budget. That's true.
Yeah, everybody's gonna
Anything
look
could
at it
happen,
and
but
see.
what do we expect?
You have to budget for the highest.
Certainly the 13,000 will take it.
Yeah.
If it's a benefit, hey, I think they're gonna take it.
I mean, is this something that you could sub out, like send out for bids and see, or is there really one company
It's,
that?
it's
pretty much
Health
does
Trust
it?
is really
That's
the only
the only one.
game in town.
Is it Delta,
Delta, it's Delta Dental.
Yeah.
which is the best?
Mm-hmm.
Cheapest, really.
Well, the Delta Dental offers municipalities, I think, 4 plans which to pick from, and we're at the low end of the plan. There's certainly better plans.
We have the Ford Escort, not the Cadillac.
Yeah.
Take the Farmall. In action.
All right, anyone? Motion, no motion?
On dental.
I'll make a motion to provide dental service for tune of what,
28,220?
yeah.
Doesn't the commissioners have to approve that first?
No.
No.
Second? Yes. Sort of. We can put the money in the budget.
Yeah, okay.
You have to create the program.
The policy,
Policy.
yeah. That's, it would go in the personal policy handbook.
So who seconded?
So we're in discussion right now. So Erica, you are right. The commissioners could decide not to offer dental.
And if they all
And blow
agree,
that
then,
money on a new copier.
Pardon?
and if they all agree, then we're
Carry.
overridden.
Take up.
The boys don't get it.
Right. We're putting, what we're doing is putting money in there so the commissioners can decide whether or not to give them dental.
Which ironically, we meet tomorrow.
Yes.
You know a guy?
I know a guy.
And if they choose not to,
I know one guy that may have a car
It is the trial.
I was gonna say one of
Yeah.
them may need my
They don't.
pacemaker.
Training
Bring
opening?
an AED to
You
Give
run.
wanna take my
Gotcha.
pacemaker with you, Eric?
all right. So
I mean-
anybody discussion?
Well, yeah, for me, I'm still gonna go, I mean, I'm supportive of getting it to 25 and 18.4%. I just don't know if in the same year for the communities that, I think we can, for me, I'd like to wait till next year and provide it next year, is where my head's at. And at least spread it out a little bit for the taxpayers.
We are doing it backwards.
Yeah. Definitely supportive of it, just not in the same year that we're doing the big raise.
Anyone else?
I'm with Scott, but this is such a small number compared to what the one we just tried to swallow, so. I'm on the fence. I would have been okay with, 20, 23, 24 bucks an hour. But where I was really pushing for the 25. I feel that that much, the dental money's kind of baked into that already. That we've kind of given them the money to spend it how they want, or not at all. you know, they just may want it to live differently, you know, so I mean, it's a nice thing, but I feel like I put it into the top line of their payroll and they've let the individuals make the choice, because we clearly know that, you know, there's a smaller population that's even availing themselves of this.
Start, what's the starting?
I'm not gonna vote for it, but I'm not against it long term, I'm not, you know.
It's about just under, it's like 23.5,
Starting?
but that will be a 6% increase over the next 12 months, so.
Any more discussion on the motion on the table?
Sign-on bonus.
Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Oh. How many nays do we have? Okay,
Wow.
so the motion fails. So, do you think it's something the commissioners would discuss tomorrow night?
I'm sure we can make sure it gets on the agenda for tomorrow.
Under other business?
They would just be curious
New business.
to hear what they have to say about it.
Yeah. We meet at 5:30, so come on down.
Yeah. Yeah, really, me stopping.
All right. Have we
Motion to adjourn.
covered everything in this budget? I think we have.
Other than warrant articles, yes, which you won't see until the next time.
Well, that's,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotta go back and forth.
Any other business?
The warrant articles include the capital improvements.
Whatever the.
You need a new ambulance or something?
Yeah,
That's included.
a pickup truck and an ambulance are in the
I'm not
warrant
being
article.
facetious, it's whatever the commissioners want.
No, it's well. But the new ambulance is like 2 years away.
I did make a motion and you did second.
I second them.
We have a motion to adjourn on the
Oh, yeah.
table.
Yeah.
All
Minutes
right,
ago.
all those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
7:35.
It's non-debatable, so we're not gonna ask for
Next
it.
meeting is December 18th.
Yes,
Is
at
that
the
a-
police station,
Five?
5 o'clock.
Nice
5
job,
o'clock.
everybody.
Thank you everybody.
That was good discussion.
Hopefully I will not be coming from Colbrook. I'm going back to Colbrook in the same.
You're not saying Coldbrook sand and gravel, you're talking Coldbrook, New Hampshire.
Colbrook up there. If I make a wrong turn, I'm in Canada.
It's funny,